the top story and the big picture here is towards what the camera project. Now the Big Brother watch, how many cameras are functional, how does the command center exactly work, and much more. So read full story on page 4 and 5 of the Daily News.
Well, 4 in 10 cameras here in Uganda are working. Public officials to get loans for vehicles. Government cars to be phased out. Full story on page 3. And here another story, General Owembabazi returns to Rwanda, and here the full picture, the commander of land forces, General Owembabazi Kainerugaba, being received by the Judge Ditafarez at Uganda's High Commission in Rwanda. Yeah, full story on page 3.
Yes, he visited his uncle yesterday. Yeah, so
I thought on his Twitter he was like, I'm done with.
He's done with what? The pictures were there, but it's also the government that reported it. So for us, we are happy. So government starts mass TB screening, and the health ministry says public places are priority areas due to the high risk of infection. Now TB is tuberculosis, and the government has started a 5-day mass tuberculosis screening to curb the spread of the disease. This came on Sunday, I think. The health ministry came out and explained so there is a massive flu and cough that's happening in schools currently. Almost,
even in the community.
Almost all our young children in primary school almost either have flu or cough, and this then led to government starting a mass tuberculosis screening. But read the full story on page 3. Meanwhile, 90,000 is the annual TB infections in Uganda every year. At least 90,000 people get tuberculosis. Yes, so read full story on page 3. And Swedish diplomat, in very, very sad news here, Swedish diplomat perishes in road accident. And the Swedish diplomat was among the 2 people who died after the vehicle they were traveling in on Sunday evening was involved in an accident. That's really near Magamaga Bridge on Jinja Iganga Road. May her soul rest in peace.
Was she a journalist?
No, there is another one for that. There is a journalist called Sumaya who passed on. But no, this is someone else. It's a Swedish diplomat, yeah.
Ex-minister fights for NRM job in party meeting. Full story on page 4. Museveni urges clergy to spread gospel on poverty eradication. And yesterday, President Museveni has urged religious leaders to take part in eradicating poverty in the country. This was during a service organized by a team of bishops from Central Uganda Anglican Diocese. Full story on page 5.
Now, according to the top story, page 4 and 5, hundreds of police cameras failed to work. Now,
not even 10.
The massive malfunction of the devices installed just in 2018 to serve as eyes and ears of the state, following a spate of killings of notable citizens, raises questions about the project's value for money and accelerates the urgent need to restore the capabilities. Now, in 2018, the president launched the CCTV camera control center that's at Natete police station. But the police spokesperson, Fred Enanga, here says that he attributes all these things to vandalism. And I quote him, "So far we have a register which indicates a total of 39 camera sites that were vandalized. 10 cameras were damaged beyond repair and are not operational anymore. 28 were damaged but reinstated to operation. 2 automatic number plate recognition damaged and reinstated to operation, and 2 ANPR cameras that were damaged beyond repair." Anyway, he attributes it all to vandalism and all these things. But read the full story on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Monitor.
Even repairs. When is the last time they did repairs? National budgeting process enters final phase. Amongi reminded the finance ministry to expedite the process of preparing the revised budget estimates, and the MPs want bill on malaria fast-tracked. Full story on page 7.
Now, if you're preparing to use Kololo this week, I suggest you fast food.
Why?
Because one, Museveni summons the NRM caucus that's happening tomorrow. That means it will be happening at Kololo, which means all roads that lead to Kololo will be closed. And starting Thursday or Friday, I think, there is the Harvest Money Expo that's usually organized by the Vision Group. Yes, so if you're planning on using Kololo this week, you just use our panyas here. But Museveni summons the NRM caucus, and a potential source says that the possible agenda is when the president wants to bring something to parliament, he first meets the caucus to brief them. I think this is one of the issues, though we have not been briefed on which proposed laws are coming up. That's what a notable source inside the NRM government is saying. But read the full story on page 6 of the Daily Monitor.
Yeah, and another thing they're going to meet up is to talk about the prices, high prices of stuff. Yeah.
And of course, actually, on that same page, the FDC tells government that, by the way, don't blame, because government sometimes has been blaming the war in Ukraine and Russia for our rising prices. Said, guys, let's be guided.
And then your Prime Minister Nabaj allowed the Indians on economy. Yeah, the Indian envoy celebrated Nabanja and Health Minister Jen Acheng as heroes in Uganda for their fight against corruption and COVID-19. Full story on page 8.
Yes, now a top U.S. diplomat flies in over rights abuses. The U.S. Acting Assistant Secretary for Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, Miss Lisa Peterson, flew in over rights abuse in Kampala. Now, Peterson is expected to engage the government on the deteriorating human rights situation in the country. And she's coming in. I think she's already in the country. But read the full story on page 7 of the Daily Monitor.
Yeah, and here on the spotlight, Natural Swamp invaded afresh as Lake Victoria chokes on pollution. A huge building is eating into Kampala's most critical wetland in a manner similar to that of a gluton. This appears to be the new home for warehouses at the heart of Nachiwo Swamp. Full story on page 10, and see why the water is turning green, wetland cover declining. Full story on page 10.
Oh, it's true. And on page 28 in regional news, milk prices soar as drought hits in Toroko, and area leaders appeal to the government to be considered for emergency relief. Read the full story on page 28. And 2 pupils sadly perish in a house in Budaka, and Budaka district officials are investigating circumstances under which 2 children suffocated to death over the weekend in Budaka. Read the full story on page 28.
Experts map out sectors for youth and women empowerment. Parish development model should incorporate VHTs, says experts. And drug-resistant TB worries experts. It says that experts say a significant number of people initiated on treatment do not complete it. And here, integrating hypertension, HIV care improves quality for life. That is what the experts say.
That is true. And in other news, in sports news here, after a winning over the weekend, Manchester United today has a game with Atletico Madrid in the round of 16 in the Champions League, and Ajax will be playing Benfica as well today. So find out more and read the full story on page 39 of the Daily Monitor. And of course, Balinya itching to mute doubts, and this is under the Uganda Premier League, the Star Times Uganda Premier League, where UPDF will be versing Wakiso today, Police will be playing KCCA, and Arua Hill will be playing Bright Stars. Read the full story on page 38 of the Daily Monitor. Any sports news for us from
the New Vision here? Inside all your football results, Yeko is on verge of signing Adidas deal. World University cross country newly crowned champion Dismas Yeko is about to take things further as he closes in on a multi-year deal with Adidas Group. full story on the last page of the New Vision. Get yourself a copy and read more of these stories. We're just going to go in a short break. We are going to come back with the talk of the town.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
Welcome to Coffee Production Tips, brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Uganda Coffee Development Authority is the government agency mandated to promote and oversee the coffee industry as a whole by developing research, facilitating coffee production and productivity, by training farmers on good agricultural practices, controlling the quality and improving the marketing of coffee for the benefit of stakeholders, planting coffee seedlings, mulching, training coffee seedlings, and stamping coffee. Farmers are encouraged to adopt good agricultural practices to get high yields, good prices, and better income from coffee. These tips are brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
Family. He must have a maid because at our home we do not work.
Conductor Masao.
Owai, obadde olobye ku ssimu?
Yamunange, anti yo TV enkolera.
Nyumirwa omulembe omupya ogujjudde ebisanyusa omuli emikutu gya TV egisukka mu 8 n'egya radio nga kwotadde ne zifirimu ng'osinziirira wonna w'oli. Genda mu App Store oteeke app ya UTV channels ku ssimu yo olwo onyumirwe ennaku 3 ng'olabira bwereere ewatali kozesa data.
UTV channels, the power is in your hand.
Talk of the town.
Welcome back from that short break. We are talking about today.
What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about prison congestion.
Okay.
On prison congestion. This is a thing that has been in the New Vision, like over, not even the New Vision this year, but it has been there like since 2013, 2015. They talked about it. 20 even when they were celebrating, the prisons were celebrating they are, they usually celebrate annually. So, but what really amazed me when the president was talking about prison congestion, the president said, I'm quoting him, he said, let the police stop that business of crying for more houses of staff, more prison facilities. He went ahead and said, give us more. He went ahead and said that instead of saying that give us more facilities for prison what the prisoners are not enough, the houses for staff is not enough, just say give us more building materials. That he wants the prisoners or the policemen to build themselves those facilities.
Okay.
Instead of crying out to the government.
Okay, that's okay. That's fine. I agree with you.
Why do you agree?
Because one, we don't want to spend taxpayers' money again to build youth facilities. Yet we hire out prisoners. In this country, you can work as a prisoner. You can go and clear people's farms.
But how much do they give them?
I don't know. Whatever they give them. Even though it's 500 every day, it's money that you can use. So I think what the president is saying is, either way, why don't you use that? You already have the skills to do this thing. Why don't you just carry on those skills and build yourselves houses? But for me, that's not even my point. My point is not with the staff. The staff will be fine. Those guys will be fine. They're already catered for. My point is the prisoners themselves. Brenda, I don't know have you been in prison before?
I've never been in prison.
But you look like someone who has been arrested before. Anyway,
why do I look like someone?
But if you've been in prison before, you know that our prisons are not the best. Our facilities are not the best. Our food is rubbish. The congestion is real. A room that's supposed to ideally sleep in about 3 or 4 or 5 people, you find they're sleeping about 10, 12, 15 people.
25 even more.
25 more than that. So you don't even have a particular bed or place. Wherever you find space that night, you sleep. If you come late, you're going to sleep standing. So I think for me, it's those things. It's the congestion. It's the way prisoners are treated. There's a story that ran on TV the other day, one of the local TV stations here, of a guy who has been working, and because they pay those prisoners, they don't work for free. So he has been working for the last 12 years when he was in jail, and coming out, he owed government. Government was supposed, the prisons was supposed to pay him about 1.something million, and then they paid him 50K. And he's like, man, I've been working for 12 years. In fact, I told you keep that money. I don't want it. I'll get it when I'm getting out. When he was getting out, they didn't pay him his money. And I think for me, it's those few perks that are in our system that I think for me that we would need to work on. This has really caused, because in 2015, today we have been talking about tuberculosis. And this is also manifested in the prisons of here in Uganda. Some of them are infected with tuberculosis, but they are not put on medication. So in other words, when they come out, they continue to spread out this tuberculosis to their family members, to people even around them, because they are not treated when they're in prisons. There was a story that ran that in prisons there is a lot of medical issues. There is jiggers that are in prisons. There is a lot of things because of this congestion. Yes, from the sanitation to the nutrition of those prisoners, it's just terrible. The sanitation is fake. The sleeping is bad. The bed bugs. It's just fake. That's the truth. But what could we do better, particularly, and what can government do better? Because apart from that, there are also other things that I don't want to talk about here. Other things concerning torture, those ones. I don't want to talk about them here. But what can government do better for our prisoners?
I went ahead and looked out on how other countries are doing it to prevent this congestion in prisons. In Cameroon, I'm going to say, like, there are a lot of countries, like, how they have done it, but I'm going to read some of the countries, how they have done to prevent the congestion in prisons. Maybe Uganda can buy a leaf from these countries. In Cameroon, the system allows for judges and prosecutors to go into the prisons and work with prison authorities to analyze the files and identify those inmates who may have been held past their trial date. Yeah, we know in prisons here in Uganda, some of them have been held past their trial date. Yeah, so they have been in prison, they have never brought them to court, and no one knows about it. So this in Cameroon, this is done, like, the judges and authorities come with the prisoners and then see those people who have been held past their trial date. And then in Mauritius, using diversion, bail and fines rather than remand as a default option. That is how they do it in Mauritius. And then in Botswana, using alternatives to imprisonment. For example, offenders can be granted a sentence of extramural labor where they are registered at the prison but work each day and stays in their community. Yeah, they work each day in Botswana, they give you a punishment, but you work each day, and like this, they invigilate you. You go and work for the community, but they don't pay you, but they invigilate you, like, in the community.
As if community service.
Yeah, but they do not take you to the prison. Yeah, you do community service.
Yeah,
the prison is responsible for following them up by visiting their place of work monthly to monitor their progress, setting time limits for bringing cases to trial. And then, for example, in Lesotho, if a person is remanded in prison, the case must be brought to court within 60 days or they must be released. So in Lesotho, if you're imprisoned beyond 60 days and they do not bring you to court, they just set you free.
Okay. But you see, those laws a bit also apply to us, like that last one. You're not supposed to arrest someone beyond 48 hours without convicting him of something. So when you arrest me today, maybe I've been in curfew times, I've been defying curfew, and after 48 hours, if you haven't yet remanded me or given me arrested me for real, that goes away. But there is a report here by the Uganda prisons, and it says that Uganda's jails can comfortably accommodate only 20,000 inmates, according to the prison service. And they are saying that anything beyond 20,000 is stretching our capacity, adding that an amnesty by Yoweri Museveni for some violators of COVID. For example, there was a time when during the lockdown, the number of prisoners in Uganda had risen from 59,000 to 65,000 in just 5 months, because one, there were guys who were defying curfew. You remember?
Yeah,
guys were defying curfew. There were guys who were arrested in bars. All those things, the number increased, and that goes then beyond what they're saying, because they're saying that Uganda's jails can only accommodate 20,000, but you have 65,000 in the jails. So
yet it can only accommodate 20,000.
So the ideal is we are 20,000, but we have 65,000 there. Those are 45,000 more people in the jails. So I think what we're asking is, man, what's the plan for all these people?
It's them building themselves facilities and.
No, but then you see, that's also a very reckless thing to say. Although I agree, I hear what he's trying to say, but it's a reckless thing to say, because just because I'm in prison doesn't then negate the fact that I'm a human being. I'm still a citizen. I'm still part of.
You still need your privacy.
I'm still part of the system. No, the privacy you might not have, but I still need to live well. You can't tell me no. The reason you're not living well is because you're not building yourself facilities. No, I don't think I agree with the president there.
Byron, you see, that because the government has not come up to help the inmates maybe who are in prison, maybe how about they do this, because the congestion is going to keep up coming, and they are going to succumb to all these things, tuberculosis, jiggers, everything, bed bugs in prison. So how about they come up and they're like, okay, the government does not help us, so how about they come up and build themselves facilities, because they're not going to be helped either way.
But either way, I think what the president was saying is, you don't ask for people to build for you, ask for materials, right? Ask for materials. Actually, I don't mind the president or government providing those materials. I honestly don't mind, as long as those guys can actually build for themselves. Because one, you cut down the bill, but also you make sure you pay them, even though it's 500 shillings every day or 1,000. Pay them, let them work.
Wow.
Because you either way just sitting in prison the whole time without doing anything. Work. But also.
But are they going to be paid? That is the main reason. Because that story of that guy really touched me. However much he came up and said, there are people who have not come up and said, we've worked, we've not been paid. They gave us only, because that guy was from Cavalry, was given only 40 or 50. That money in that range. Yet he was demanding around 1M. So there are people who have succumbed to all those things, but they have not come up and talked about all these things. So if the government maybe could come up and help with maybe bringing these people who have passed their trial time and bring them. There are people who have only stolen chicken, but they are still in prison.
For years and years.
They have not brought them to court, or maybe because their family members do not follow up. Some of them do not have their family members.
But it's no lie that sometimes the system might be broken. That even that person who stole just chicken and whatnot, you might need some extra money to get bumped up. I mean, I've been to court before, and the honest truth is, I've seen cases where, like, man, if you want this case to move faster to the judge, or for you first pay some small money. There is some sort of kickback that happens with all systems, and I think it goes back to corruption, and particularly from the police. By the way, the police in 2021, last year, or even 2020, was termed as the most corrupt institution in Uganda. So from the police to, which means it's a whole system, from the police to judiciary to the court to, by the time you get to, I mean, I know of rich people who never have really committed crimes, but they never step inside a prison cell. And Osanga Chiomutu Awansi, he's the one who is suffering for those things. But I don't know. I think we can do better as a country, particularly even as I want to conclude this. It makes me very emotional. Anyway, even as we conclude this topic, I think that one, the government can do better in terms of how we treat our citizens, particularly those people in prisons, but also how we treat the people who take care of those people, because usually when you don't take care of the people you work with or you work for, or the people that work for you, it shows in everything that we do. That if you don't take care of the policemen, for example, they won't take it on with you. No, they will take it on to Byron, who has been arrested for stealing chicken, and they will probably beat him, or I don't know, whatever happens there. So I think, one, let's take care of our prisoners. Let's keep them hygienic. I mean, we usually do every year towards Christmas. I know of some ministries that usually go to prisons, take them food or whatever, and all these things. And I've been to a couple, and you go there and you see these guys are really in a struggle. But I don't want to negate some of the good things that are happening in prisons. People are studying in prisons. People are getting
an education. The prisons they are being imprisoned in.
I'm talking about the Ugandans in Uganda, the ones I know about. People have been learning in prison. You can learn a skill. You can do a few things in prison. I mean, I've seen people taking exams in prison, UCE, USCE, O-level, A-level, PLE as well. People learning a few skills, and organizations, I'm sure, have come up to help such people. But how is the government, and I think for us, or for me, It's just to challenge the government and, the prison services. How well are we treating our prisoners? Are they eating well? Are they sleeping well? How best can we then control the numbers? If our prisons are meant to accommodate only 20,000, how have we reached at 65? And how can we cut back on the, I know that every year, or I don't know, the duration in which President gives amnesty actually says Byron, Brenda, and all these other people, it's okay. Presidential pardon. Is it possible for the president to give some?
Like 40,000.
Those are too many.
Because the prisons can only accommodate 20,000.
No, those are too many. We still want those criminals.
So let me cut down.
There is a reason they're in jail.
There
is a reason they're in jail. We want those criminals to stay there.
So,
now,
what if the president comes and gives
40,000 to
cut down numbers?
We would rather have congestion in the prisons than having criminals walking on the street. Criminals attacking people on the street with.
So then
I wouldn't want to.
Up in the community.
Let me tell you, the president is busy. He's really busy.
Not the president. The prison should come and follow them in the community where they are.
We already have 20,000 to prison service. They are not here to pamper you. The consequences to your actions, tells you the consequences to your actions. When you steal someone or when you rob someone and they arrest you and they take you to jail, that means that they should release or should. How? Why? You deserve to be in jail. That's
because the prison can only accommodate 20,000.
And I've said they would rather see the congestion in the prisons than release criminals on the streets. Even me, I would rather. You would rather be there and get your punishment of whatever years, 2, 5, 20 years, than see you on the street.
Me, I do not support it.
You would rather see a criminal on the streets.
Being followed up by the prison.
No, but that's not their role. The prison is not supposed to follow up. The prison, what does the prison do? It puts you in prison. That's what it does. It contains you. It's not there to follow you up.
And the main reason is that there is congestion. We set out people who have studied maybe chicken, who have studied goods, what? The grandmother or the old woman only has one chicken in her life. You've come and you've stolen it. It's her only possession. For her, justice is see you in jail. For how long?
Whatever time.
People should get to know that.
Until you go to court.
They're the people who are causing quotation.
No. You go to court. You go to court and they give you a jail time. But also you're a sinner, right? So go and pay for your sins.
They should be taken to church because that is where. And
in the prison, by the way, let me. The preachers walk to go there.
There are
how many prisons do we have?
You forgotten that there is these cottages.
Which ones?
Maybe they are Ginger Road, those cottages that they imprison people. Maybe when they find you, when your pants are down here, when you're doing stuff, they first take you there.
Yes.
And my main concern is.
But that's a police station. Okay. It's not a prison.
Some of them are detained there for 3 days.
Yes. That's a police station. It's not a prison. We're talking about prisons. We're not talking about the police station. Yes, we're talking about prison, not police station.
Okay.
There's a difference.
It's all the same.
It's really not. A prison is different from a police station.
If they leave you there for 3 days, how does it become a prison?
Doesn't it become what?
A prison for you.
No, it is a jail cell, right? But it's different from a prison. A prison is where people go after you've gone to court and they've remanded you and they've told you the truth is you're here for 12 years. They won't put you in a police station for 12 years. No. They'll put you to our prisons. We have Chitalia, we have Luzira, Very, very interesting.
Accommodative.
Yeah, very accommodative. You'll be fine there. You go and do your years from there.
No privacy, no freedom, no anything.
Yeah, you gave up that freedom when you decided to be a criminal. So next time when you come out, we hope that actually the main reason for prison, Brenda, I tell you for free, is we hope that by the time you finish your 10 years, you're a changed man. By the time we release you, that is why the judge comes and says, Byron, I think for stealing chicken, you need at least 6 months in jail. You go and think about what you've done, and after that you come back and change.
You revamp.
There we go.
Oh, thank you so much for following us on all our social media platforms. My parting shots are this congestion in prison. It increases. There's a report that was done in 2019 that there is increased rates of violence and self-harm and suicide in prison. So if we can maybe bring prisoners and those ones who have been remanded for a longer period of time and check it out and see, and then bring them to court. Maybe even the family members follow them up, even those ones that do not have family members to be followed up. That could help on reducing the congestion that are in prisons. Thank you so much. We are just going to go into a short break, but we are going to come back. Don't go anywhere.
Do you know that you can now enjoy great enriching shows anywhere through the Family TV app? Here is how to download it. Open Play Store on your phone. Search for the Family TV app. Click Install. After installing it, open it and enjoy enriching content anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Family TV, enriching lives.
Chinyumira whether it is Katogo, Chikomando, Rolex Majasa to Nyanyambisi. Man, wherever I am, I enjoy Chinayu with your TV channels on my phone.
Nyumira omulembe omupya ogujjudde ebisanyusa omuli emikutu gya TV egisukka mu 8 n'egya radio nga kw'otadde ne zifirimu ng'osinziirira wonna w'oli. Genda mu App Store oteeke app ya TV channels ku simu yo olwo onyumira ennaku 3 ng'olabira bwereere ewatali kozesa data.
Yo TV channels, the power is in your hands.
The starting point of your soldiering, when they say attention and you hold your legs, you have made yourself a soldier.
And I said, now I know you want me to get saved, so I am going to get saved, but give me time. Can you imagine telling God, if you ask him for something, can you imagine him telling you, give me time?
I praise God that I was condemned, Because if I wasn't condemned by man, then consequently I would have been condemned by God. But it's because of that human condemnation that led me to my salvation.
Okimanyi nti biiti y'oluyimba lw'omuna Uganda ekusitula mu katebe w'otudde?
Hey, 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 Yahweh, Yesu mulungi, teri yamwekana.
Obadde omanyi amawanga ag'enjawulo engeri gye gakikolamu nga gasinza Katonda?
Fire burn them, redemption time is today.
Yabaffe, obadde omanyi ennyimba eza hymns zatandika zitya n'abaani abaaziyiiya?
Naza n'omusaayi gwo ogusinga byonna.
Eno ye Home Beats buli wa mukaaga ssaawa 10 paka ssaawa 11 ez'akawungeezi wano ku mayengo ga Church of Uganda Family TV. Nange Billy Brands of Uganda. Home Beats. Enjoy your regional gospel music.
Mirinda.
Grab yourself an ice cold bottle of Mirinda Orange at any shop or supermarket near you. Mirinda Orange, the taste that makes you go OMG.
As you think about the Lord just taking over your case and you're no longer in the midst of it, and he says, fear not.
Demons from the mountains, scream and leave. In the name of demons from the graves, scream and leave in the name of Jesus.
Pulogulaamu ensonga tukuletera okumanya biki ebigenda maaso mu ggwanga. Okumanya ebyenjigiriza n'ebyenkulaakulana ekyo nikyo kikulu. Twegatteko wano ku Church of Uganda Family TV buli wa mukaaga essaawa 11 ez'akawungeezi.
I got nothing new. How could I express all my gratitude?